and people get very upset by the idea of calories. Not everybody, but some. And so you can call it whatever you want, energy, fuel, whatever amount of this energy that your body needs, finding that and looking long term and thinking about how for the rest of my life, if I go above this number, I'm going to gain weight.
Then I bulked. I said, I'm breaking the world record in the bench press. And I started bulking. And I was force feeding. I was eating, 5,000-6,000 calories a day. So much so that I would wake up in the middle of the night. I'm throwing up. I can't keep the food down. I'm physically trying to keep it down to get fatter on purpose, because the more I weighed, the heavier I could lift, the stronger I would get. Then when I said the bulk's over, I didn't break the record. I was close. I just couldn't do it. I said, it's time to cut back down and maintain that healthy, lean body that I used to have. It was a nightmare. I was craving ice cream every single night because I was eating 2 liters of it a day. And then when I started eating a couple spoonsful, I was like, I couldn't stop. It tasted so good. I couldn't stop. So I can relate, even though I've never been, 400 pounds, I still know what it's like to be binge eating and not be able to stop. Couldn't stop eating. It'd be 2 liters and I'd eat another 2 liters. I'm like, how do I stop this? It took probably a year to get over that bulk. And so when I tell people, I don't like you to bulk and cut, it's because I've experienced it myself. I know how hard it is. And I'm comfortable with my body. I have a lot of self-esteem. And I'm looking at my physique and I'm like, I'm used to having the full 6-pack. And once I lost it, I'm like, I don't like the way I look as much. That's hard for me. And that's me, who's a confident guy. And I'm picturing younger teenagers and people that are 20s, males and females, and they're going through the same thing. And if it was hard on me, how hard is it on them?
Yeah. Yeah. And how hard is it on somebody who has whatever compulsions an addict has that causes, obsessive or compulsive overeating, to then dabble in that? When I talk to people who talk to me about like, I want to lose all this weight and then put on a bunch of muscle, I'm like, okay, be very, very careful. And the easier way, the better strategy, in my opinion, is go super, super slow and use some resistance training while you're losing weight to retain muscle. And you probably have more muscle than you imagine, right?
Yeah, I would 100% recommend that. The smaller the calorie deficit, so the closer you're out of maintenance, the more likely you're going to not only hold on to the muscle as you're dieting, but also build muscle, because you can build muscle in a calorie deficit. You're using the energy from your fat stores to build the muscle. So if you're 400 pounds and you want to lose 200, you can lose the 200 pounds while building muscle. You might not need to get to 200. You could build 10, 20 pounds in the process. But if you crash diet and you're losing 5 or 10 pounds or even 20 pounds, like some of these TV shows you see, if you lose all that weight too quickly, you're losing muscle as well as the fat. And you might think, geez, if I get down to 200, I'll look great. You might be 150 because you're losing 50 pounds of muscle in the process. So by far, the best thing you can do is the slower you can convince yourself to lose weight, the better. The slower, the better. Let it take years. It took probably 10 or 20 years to put on the fat in the first place. Why not take your time in losing the weight? Better to lose the weight, keep it off, than yo-yo diet every year, losing 50 pounds in a month, and then you just end up rebounding weight, gaining it all back.
I think it's a much better strategy, especially if, because I think that I've gained and lost weight many times. I yo-yo dieted for years. And when I try to really go back to the moments of, no, I was so committed to this. And I would think about, what was I committed to? I was just committed to weight loss as quick as possible. There was no thought beyond that, really. It was just, it was finally when I went, this whole life that I'm living is unmanageable, and I want to unravel it so that I can just get to a place of equilibrium for long term. What is that going to take? And, there was a time when I thought it was, that I was allergic to carbohydrates, and that my equilibrium was just that I had to quit carbohydrates forever. But even that, I found very easy to overeat meat and fat. Cheeseburgers, going to, fast food and having them just pull the bun off of something. I wasn't losing weight. So finding, and people get very upset by the idea of calories. Not everybody, but some. And so you can call it whatever you want, energy, fuel, whatever amount of this energy that your body needs, finding that and looking long term and thinking about how for the rest of my life, if I go above this number, I'm going to gain weight. And if I maintain this number, I'm going to stay the same. And if I go slightly under this number, I will lose weight slowly. I think it's just a much better strategy.
Exactly. I like how you put equilibrium, which to me means just to maintain yourself, to the maintenance, being able to have balance in your life, this equilibrium. And you mentioned that carbs, you had to cut those out because it just was too hard. For me, those are trigger foods. Everyone has a trigger food. I call trigger foods things that you eat that you have a hard time putting the fork down. For me, cereal. I had to stop having boxes of cereal. I love cereal. I'm like, and I'm not saying you can't have cereal, but for me, I can't have cereal. If I want to maintain this physique right here under 10, I can't have cereal. If I do, I just can't stop. I eat the whole box. Another item is ice cream. I couldn't do it. I can't to this day have the ice cream and not eat the 2 liters. I just don't have the willpower. So we all have things that we don't have willpower for. I have a strong motivation to exercise and to eat healthy, but there's certain triggers that I just can't handle. So if you get rid of the triggers and find replacements for those, that is how you can have this equilibrium or balance that you're talking about. Ice cream, I don't buy anymore. I have frozen Greek yogurt bars, the 100-calorie bars. Chocolate bars that I can't stop eating, I have the protein bars instead. And cereal, I have popcorn, and popcorn has saved my life. I'm telling you, I love the popcorn. I'm eating 2, 3, 4 bags a day. It takes care of every snack craving that I have because I'm a eat the whole box of crackers. I'm going to eat the whole box of cookies. I've always been like that. And with popcorn, I can eat the whole box. Literally, I could eat bag after bag after bag for hours and I'm not gaining weight. So that saved me. So other people that are listening to this, if you have a trigger food, find something that's lower in calories that you can replace that with, get rid of the trigger food, and you can have this balance or equilibrium that we're talking about.
Well, it's okay, great. This is a great segue too, because talking about this and talking about strategies around food, you have a cookbook. You have a cookbook that basically is all of this. Is like, if you have a craving for ice cream, here's what you can do and here's what you can make, and you can satisfy that urge, right? It is all those things.
Absolutely. That's why I had the book. I've dieted for 59 competitions. And every time I did a diet, I learned about some other food that I could eat instead of what I wanted to eat. And you just find a way. When you're always hungry, when you're always starving, and you know from dieting how hard it is and how much you suffer, you find anything, any trick to make it easier. So over the years, I just developed recipes that allowed me to do this. Like today, I had 3 French toasts, and I had 3 of my salmon rice cakes, and I had a wrap. If I had regular French toast and regular wraps and regular sandwiches, they would have had double the calories. I wouldn't be in that deficit or in that maintenance to allow me to have this equilibrium. So just having that cookbook, it's been a savior. I eat probably 4 out of my 5 meals a day from the book. And even if it's only one, that one is enough to make that difference. If you have one swap in your life, one meal that's lower in calories, and you do it every day, you're going to lose weight for the rest of your life. That's all you need to do.